I'm Robin. This is Claire.
My mouth is full of pizza. Sorry.
So I have two jobs. I have a day job. I manage a business for Hewlett Packard, and at night I work at church doing relationship development, like couples workshops, parent-kid workshops and stuff, and try to do as best I can at our own house too. So it's okay while we're trying to work with other people and help them bring out the best. The thing I do at work is kind of the same thing. I lead a training and development group, and that's our goal, is to help just bring out everybody's best. If there's a way that those two go together, that's probably it. Claire, who are you? Besides my wife and the one who knows what you're doing. Yeah, the one with food in your mouth. Yep.
So we've been married for 24 years.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Just last month.
That's true.
And like I said, we're married. I'm married to him. I help him a lot in his the relationship ministry stuff. I also work at our church. I'm a ministry assistant. I assist a lot of different people, including Mr. William.
Yep.
Which is why you might see my name Claire come across the group me or emails or different things like
Yeah,
that. I'm that Claire.
So you have to be clear. That's clear.
This is who I am in the person. Yes, I am that Claire. So, so I assist with all different kind of things, students and kids and senior adults and all different kinds of stuff like that, doing that. So yeah, and we established last week we're communication experts. That's why we're here, right?
We are communication learners, and we are sharing what we are learning, if that's useful to you. No, we're not experts. We probably do everything we're going to talk about. That's fair to say. Everything we're going to talk about tonight, there are times when we've done it well and times when we haven't done it well. And so if that's you, then great. That's all of us.
And we probably definitely started out not doing it well.
Oh yeah, we definitely had a hard start in our.
And we've learned the art of the do-over. That's an important thing in communication. Is sometimes everything just starts out wrong, and sometimes we're just like, can we push pause and just have a do-over and start over and incorporate the things that we know we're supposed to be doing.
Okay, so that's really good. There are times when we're having maybe a heated conversation.
We're having an argument.
Yeah, we're having an argument, and we'll say something.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come out quite the way we meant it to. We can't totally say I completely didn't mean that, but we definitely didn't mean it to come out the way it did. And or we're frustrated and we feel under pressure and we say something that we just didn't think it through. We have learned that a really powerful thing to do is allow each other. If you say, that didn't come out the way I'm intended, can I have a do-over and say it differently? To allow the person to say that way. There are situations where we're going back and forth, and maybe Claire would say something, and she says it in a certain way, and I've taken it in the worst possible way. What are you saying? And she didn't mean what I'm thinking, but I'm going down that road, and she'll say, hold on, stop, I wasn't thinking that through, can I redo that? And I have to be willing to assume that she really didn't mean to say what she said, and she really was trying to say something different, and let her have that pass. Instead of saying, well, sure, but I know what you really meant because you said it the first time. Sometimes what we say the first time isn't really what we're trying to express.
Or we just don't start out communicating respectfully, which is something we're going to touch on tonight.
We're
Some
mad.
of these things that
we're going to get somebody back. You're not seeing her? Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. All right. So let's go back to the basics, though. Last time we said, in order to send a message to somebody, and we did talking. How else did we send a message last time? We made
ways we communicate.
Yeah, ways we communicated.
Body language.
Yeah,
that's
we
right.
made faces with each other and gestures, and kind of said, what is that saying when I say that? So you can communicate with your words. You can communicate by not saying any words. So there's no such thing, we said, as saying we don't communicate. Yeah, you do. You just may not communicate. Yeah, right. You may be communicating by not speaking. You're communicating something. So words, gestures, emails, Instagram messages.
Tone of voice.
Tone of voice. If you're trying to send a message that you want someone to understand, we said there are two things you have to have. That message has to be two traits that it has to have in order to communicate effectively. whether or not it's a positive communication. Doesn't matter whether you're trying to be their friend or not. Just if you're trying to get someone to know something, what are 2 things we said have to be true about that communication? Do you remember? Anybody remember one of them? And it's been 2 weeks. Yeah. Well, a guess? Any guess?
Finger pointing, blaming. I said blaming.
Okay, we're getting there. Well, right off the bat, it has to be clear. It has to be clear. And that might include relatable, too. So it has to be clear in terms of the language, in terms of other attributes. We have to kind of, as close as possible, be relating to each other. Like if I use an example and it's something that someone has never, a situation they've never been in their life, they're not going to know what I'm talking about. So it has to be clear. And the second thing is, did that give you a hint? And it doesn't matter whether I'm intending this to be good for you or not. We're not there yet. But it has to be clear. What else would go along with that? Especially if I'm, what's that? True. There has to be someone to receive it, right? That's true. It has to be actionable. It has to be clear and actionable. I know what you're saying, and I know what you're wanting me to either understand or do. Otherwise, we're not communicating. Does that make sense? So far, that's the basics. That's what we said. But we said that could be anything. And we said that could be a partner who wants to communicate that you want to go out on a dinner date, which is a good thing, or someone who wants to communicate I love you. It had to be clear and actionable. I have to understand what you're saying. It could also be a mugger, who wants to take your money. They want to be clear because they want you to know right away what they want, because they don't want to fight because it's going to take a lot longer, and so they'd like to scare you. So they want to send a real clear message. So either way, if you're trying to intimidate someone or have a relationship with someone, it has to be clear and actionable. What about if we want to have a partnership? There's a couple more things we probably want to add if we want to have a mutually beneficial kind of communication.
And this can mean work-related, family.
In any setting so far. Just like a friend or someone you're working with.
You have to, anytime you do something as a team or collaborate, you have to be able to agree and come to some type of meeting.
Yes, that's exactly right. Mm-hmm. So we have that as, there has to be some set of shared values. You have to have some plane of agreement to have a good communication. Right, good, that's great. That's right on the list. What else? Trust. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What kind of things could build trust, do you think?
Spending
Time.
with each other.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Sticking to whatever it is that you said you were going to do.
Yes. Yes. Integrity. Yeah. Consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Yeah. I would call all that under, we have an item that says appropriate commitment to whatever the relationship is. Your day-to-day actions seem to indicate that you're committed. And that's going to increase trust. And that could be in a workplace or in a closer relationship. And in a second, I'll talk about some differences there. But yes, so we have to have some basic things we agree on in order to have a mutually beneficial communication. We have to have some level of trust, and that's going to be built by having some idea that the other person is committed in some way to us, whatever this relationship is. Anything else you can think of? Boundaries, that's good, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I have respectful, and that could be included there.
Yes. So
your words and your actions would indicate that you respect each other. Mm-hmm. And that would definitely include understanding someone's boundaries.
Yes.
In a workplace, respecting how close is too close to someone. Maybe they don't want to get as close to you as they would if they were in your house, in your family. And so, so far we have clear and actionable. And you want to make sure they know what you're saying and can do something with it. But that could be good or bad. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. I mean, you could be threatening somebody and they don't know what you're talking about, and it doesn't make any sense. There's a movie that's a couple, 2-3 years old now, and it's just funny. I crack up every time. A Shazam, like superhero movie, and the bad guy is, they fly, and they're both up in in the sky, and they're way across the city from each other, and the bad guy is threatening, is yelling and screaming about how he's going to rip the superhero's legs off and put his tongue up, down his throat and everything. And it's this really harsh speech, and they're playing it so serious, and then you pan over to the superhero, and he can't hear anything. And it's just the guy's mouthing off, and he's like, "If you're trying to threaten me, I can't hear a thing you're saying." Mm-hmm. So he wasn't effective in his communication. Mm-hmm. So it was really good. Okay, and then to have a partnership, we want to add respect, trust, some level of commitment, and show that we're respectful. We care about each other's feelings and well-being. And there's one more, but that would rather be under a shared value. And that's truth. It should be true. Yeah. People, you can have an effective communication that's clear and actionable and not be true. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had someone tell you something that was straightforward and clear, and you acted on it and it turned out they were lying to you? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Every time.
Was it who?
A car salesman.
Yeah. That's the best example. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You need this car. This
stuff
is
you buy online from that, thing that scrolls off in your social media page.
Yeah.
That looks cool. You get it, and I'm like, that is not what I ordered.
That was really good. Yeah. Oh gosh, yes.
Yes.
Good. All right, now there's a next level. So first we said if you just want to communicate to anybody, you want to be clear, you want to know what you're saying. If you want to communicate in a partnership way, you want to add things like respect, have some shared values. Like at a company, we have a set of values to say this is kind of who we are as a company, and if you want to work here, then you're going to be a lot happier if you kind of agree with those values. One is, for example, that we don't have any closed doors at our company. We have an open door policy. Anybody can talk to anybody at any time.
We don't even have doors.
No, we don't have doors. Yeah. And that we collaborate on decisions, that you really do let your team members not just do the work, but help decide how. That's a value of our company. And so if you're kind of a dictator type, you're not going to like it too much, because it takes longer to make decisions like that. And so it can be hard to get used to. Can't someone just decide? But our company says it's more important for us to get to an agreement on something than just someone to decide. So that's a company value. And it should be true. That'd be ideally. Now, how about in your home? Like an intimate relationship with your a
people
guardian,
your closest
children,
ones, yeah.
Yeah, a partner, someone you're in a romantic relationship with, or married to. There's two more things you might want to add to your communication. What do you think? Is there anything else?
Vulnerability.
That's
bingo.
it.
That's like
being
one of the
able
major
to be vulnerable, to really let this person know all of who you are. There's a degree to which in a workplace you don't do that. I mean, you're kind of respectful, but you don't just you have your working level relationship, but you're not just opening up your whole heart to everybody you work with all the time. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, the work people are not always necessarily your friends. There may be that you're able to build closer relationships over time, but that's never a guarantee. In your home, though, it would be really ideal if it is, because that's the only place you can be the real you. And ideally, as Christians, what the Bible says is that's kind of God's hope, is that in your house, you can at least have one place where someone can know the real you and they're going to love you for everything that you are. And that's a huge blessing. And what a miss if you don't have that, because you don't have it anywhere else. So,
and just a side note, when you're talking about your kids, it needs to be an appropriate level of vulnerability for their age and stage of life. But having a vulnerability with your child as a parent appropriately builds trust with them and increases your level of communication with them as it would with any other person.
Like as they're, it's really good. So an example of that would be as they grow up, and we're halfway through that.
We have 2 kids, by the way. I
one.
forgot to mention that. Yeah.
We have one who's 14 and one who's 19, and as they grow older, being willing to transition from that, like, I'm going to show you what to do, then I'm going to tell you what to do, and now I'm going to be your mentor, and I'm going to share my experiences related to what you're going through, and willing to transition. What's that?
I said, Lord, I'm at that stage,
Yeah, we are too. And so we have one who just left for college, and so that's a whole new thing. And especially when he comes home, because we have to remember, well, you know what? I mean, he might be out late. You know, he's an adult.
Yeah.
So we
might not know where he goes.
Yeah, and so it isn't just now though. It was throughout high school that we had to start getting ready for that and started to draw back a little bit and become more someone he would still talk to when he doesn't have to anymore.
And understand there needed to be mutual respect and mutual trust.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That built up over time.
Yeah, he had to earn that
and then
too.
he had increased responsibility.
Yeah.
And all those things.
Yeah. And we have a daughter who's just coming up through that. So she's
Yeah.
just in 9th grade. And so we'll see how that goes. So, all right. So there's that. And there's one more thing, and it's what will create that vulnerability. We already used the word.
We're just
adding a level up, and that's commitment. We talked. You have to have the appropriate level commitment in any relationship. In your home, you really should have total commitment. You should be willing to try to achieve that.